It was June 18th, 1983. And I walked into St. Joseph's Hospital in Tampa, Florida. Because the night before, which was Father's Day, Jean and I were told that our adopted baby son was born. And that we could go to the hospital that day, take a parenting class, and we could see our child. And so, as it would have it, Jean is a wonderful corporate citizen. And she went right to the child rearing class. Me, as a rebel, went right to the nursery. And so they saw me and they said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm Lee Wolak and I have a son." And they go, "What's your son's name?" "Haven't named him yet." And "Would you like to hold your son?" They identified who I was. They took all the paperwork, all that, knew who I was. And I said, "Yes." So they took me into this little room and I had a rocking chair. And I sat in the rocking chair and the nurse walked in with this baby. The cutest, most beautiful baby. And put him in my arms. And I held him. And I remember that day was the one day that I could truly say that I loved my son unconditionally. Because as I held him in my arms, I was talking to him, and I said to him, "I want you to know that I'm going to create an environment for you where you can come into this world and be the person you want to be, and my whole job is to support you as you find your joy." Now, I've choked on those words many times since then, because whether or not we understand it, we are domesticated. From the time we are born, we are domesticated. That's a term that Don Miguel Ruiz uses, the domestication of the human race. And I love that term. And we condition people by reward and punishment. Did you ever notice that? If you do this, then I'll do this. So that's not unconditional, is it? So when I'm talking about stepping back into love, I'm talking about stepping back into where you unconditionally accept yourself first and others later. I was meeting with a gentleman yesterday who's a spiritual leader in the Indian community here in Dallas. And we were sitting down and we were just having a conversation back and forth. It was a 2-hour conversation. And he talked about, what do you do when you've been with your community and everyone coming from the community is there to absorb an energy that you have? And he says, there are people who come up and they'll hug you and they're trying to receive energy. I said, well, here's what I know. As long as I'm loving myself, I've got energy to give. So it doesn't matter who comes up that you're giving energy to. Do you get that? You're never going to feel depleted of energy if you're loving yourself. But if you're relying on someone else to give you energy so that you can give energy over here, that's going to run out real fast. Because the true source of energy comes from your inner knowing of who you are. And your inner knowing of who you are is that you are tapped into the infinite. And being tapped into the infinite, you don't need any other source. So today we're going to be talking about knowing what the power of love is. Because we've got this idea of love that's just skewed. So here's my definition. Love is the awareness and acceptance of our wholeness. Now I really want you to ponder that. The awareness and acceptance of our wholeness. So what we understand here at Agape, the Centers for Spiritual Living, what most faiths have at the underpinning of who they are before the dogma comes around it, is that there is an infinite power and presence. That infinite power and presence creates everything. And what is it created out of? Itself. Because there's nothing else to create from, right? If there's an infinite and the infinite's going to create something, it's going to create it out of itself. So the infinite that we call God, let's use the term God. I could call it Dave, Mary, Susan, Helen, thing, it. Doesn't matter what you call it. No word can adequately describe it. But it took itself and created the expression of life that you see in front of you. That's Lee. So what did God take? It took itself, which means it's perfect, right? God is all there is. Is that not right? If it takes part of it and it creates something, what it's creating is perfect. Is that not right? So I'm perfect because I was created by perfection. You're perfect because you were created by perfection, right? We forget the awareness. We become unaware because we become domesticated into believing that our egos are who we are when it's not our ego is who we are. We are the individualization of life that is expressing uniquely as us. And here's the key thing. The infinite doesn't create two of anything. That would be limiting to the infinite. Infinite meaning it never stops. You can't realize more. So why would it create two human beings alike? Why would it expect two human beings to be alike? Let me even become sacrilegious. Why would it expect anyone to worship it? How small a God would that be? You need to worship me. That's a God with an ego. That's a God that would be one that we were separated from. You see, the God in most religions that we hear about is a God that's anthropomorphic, meaning it's been made in the image of men or women, as opposed that we were made in its image. And if we were made in its image, it would go back to the idea that we were already perfect. So we've got to become aware, and then we have to accept that this expression is already perfect. And understand that within this expression, this physical expression that you see here, and what you see in my mind, everything in my life that I have chosen consciously or unconsciously chosen has now demonstrated in what you're seeing. And how it demonstrated was perfect. Why? Because the law created it. We call it the law of cause and effect. What you put out comes back. What you put out, you become. So the law is always working. So Lee, as you see Lee, is a perfect reflection of the conscious and unconscious thoughts and everything that Lee's experienced. I am perfect. Now, you may not like that because I'm not meeting up to your expectations. And guess what? I don't care. Because the second I care, I'm not in love. Because now I'm putting my love outside of myself instead of from myself. John Demartini says this, and I had a hard time with this when I first heard it, but now I absolutely love it. And it fits in with where I just said love is. He says love is a synthesis and synchronicity of complementary opposites. What does that mean? Wholeness, doesn't it? Complementary opposites. The synthesis, the bringing in, the understanding that we are everything. And everything complements. As much as people say I have a good, I also have a bad. Think about that. There are 4,628 human traits, and each of us has all of those traits. What we select to focus on becomes our experience. The trait of a murderer is in each of us. The trait of a rapist is in each of us. The trait of a saint is in each of us. The trait of a humanitarian is in each of us. The question is, where do you put your energy? Where you put your energy gives that life. And what is life? Life is focus within you. And where you put your focus and where you give life to, you create, which means you experience. Love gives us the freedom to just be us. The purpose of our life is to explore, create, and have fun. Have you heard that before from any minister? Probably not. Everything in this planet is just too friggin' serious. Think about that. We've got our kids. I was talking with a beautiful young lady here for the first time, got some 5-year-old twins, and they're already reading and stuff like that. I'm going, what happened to play? Play is drilled out of us at the youngest of age. I've got a kindergarten teacher in the front row here, and she's nodding her head saying, I'm putting these kids through hell. At the age of 5, at 5. What do you do at 5? You play. Does anyone here have any memories of kindergarten? I do. I love kindergarten. I got to play, and I got to nap, and I got snacks. I look forward to kindergarten. I didn't have to worry about reading and writing and that. And guess what? I turned out okay. I didn't have to take a standardized test to prove I'm worthy. It's almost like not only do we have to take standardized tests to prove we're worthy, but if you're single and you're internet dating, my God, the test you've got to go through, the questions you've got to ask to prove you're worthy of dating someone. I'm grateful not to be in the dating world, because if I was, I would ask this question: do you like to play? How would you define play? If you want to play, hey, I'll play with you. And you guys get out of that dirty mind of yours. That's not what I meant. But to see, the key thing is, I'm not single. I am married. Guess what? I asked my wife, so how do you want to play today? It's always about how life is to explore, which means what? You explore into the unknown. Because guess where life is? Life is alive in the unknown. That's where the mystery is. That's where the juice is. When you're in the unknown, oh my God, that's the best place to be. That's where contrast is. And you see, if you don't have contrast, you don't feel. If you don't feel, you're not experiencing life. One of the things that most people who get on antidepressant drugs will talk to you is that, I hate feeling numb. I want to feel alive again. And so we've got it all wrong in our medicine. Now, I'm not saying that drugs are all bad, but I'm saying is we're here to experience life. We're here to explore and to experience and to become more aware and to have a heck of a lot of fun as we do so. Love is about being authentic and living authentically. We have to stop pretending to be something other than what we are. The key thing is you got to know what you are. That's the talk for next week. Who are you? See, this is going to be an unfolding that is going to be so magnificent, because I'm trying to bring ideas into you that have been buried for I don't know how many years. And I'm trying to bring those ideas to you so that you can examine them for yourself. I don't expect you to believe anything I say. I never expect that from you. But what I expect from you is that you listen, and if something tickles your fancy, explore it for yourself. Because when you explore it for yourself and you make a determination, hey, I'm going to try this, and if you prove it to yourself, guess what? You own it. And when you own it, you'll take off with it. But if you're just listening to me, nothing's going to change in your life. You've got to explore. You've got to expand. It's like for me, I'm always doing something new to expand, because I get bored real fast. Because what's the purpose of our life? It's to explore, to expand, and to have fun, to play. When we stop that, that's when we get bored. Oh, today was a real boring day. Isn't that awful to ever say that when you have the ability of infinite possibilities in front of you? Love is honoring the agreements with ourselves and others. Love is letting go of anything that is not freeing. Because we live in community, we have agreements. I have agreements with Lee that I've set up as a way of life. I have agreements with my wife as part of our relationship. I have agreements with the board of directors. I have agreements with the practitioners. I have agreements with the community. When I give my word is my power. If I don't live up to my word, I'm negating my power, and what I'm saying to myself is I am unworthy. When I'm saying I'm unworthy, I'm saying I'm not lovable. So our word is really important, and living up to that word. Now, it doesn't mean you can't go to someone and you say, Gene, I gave you my word that I was going to do this, but let me share with you, something has happened, and this is what's happened, and based on everything, I am switching my choice. Now, she may not like that, but am I being in integrity? Yes. Am I here to please her? No. A lot of you people are giving me a dirty look right now. But the fact of the matter is, we accept each other the way we are. And the purpose of our relationship is one reason, or two reasons only, to support and grow each other. That's the only reason. Third reason, and to have fun. You got to throw the fun in, because I'm telling you, I see a lot of relationships. They're way too serious. Everything is about a serious talk. No, let's just play. Debbie's a painter, am I right? When was the last time you decided to paint Rob? Don't tell me, Debbie. I know it was recent. But that's playful. Not that you paint someone, but I'm just using that as an example here. But playing is fun. Being a kid, exploring. It could be that. How many of you really like to eat? Yeah. When was the last time you went out and just tried a new restaurant for the sake of a new restaurant? Or are you stuck in the routine of the same restaurants over and over and over again? I'm always looking for a good new restaurant, a good new recipe. Oh, love new recipes. I tried a lot of new recipes when I was in silent meditation of Vipassana, all very vegetarian with lots of spices. And I learned I liked some of them, and some of them didn't like me. You have to listen. I'm talking about food here, but I'm also talking about people. You're going to meet people in your life and remember, everyone is vibrating at a frequency. Do you get that? Because we're all energy. Everything in the planet is energy, and what the energy does, it vibrates at different frequencies, and when it's vibrating, I'm a Lee frequency, you're a Sarah frequency, you're a Malcolm frequency, you're a Charles frequency. Okay, there's the frequencies. But the frequency, maybe I'm going to say the frequency of Zelda. There's no Zelda at Agape that I'm aware of. Zelda and I may not be compatible frequencies. I'm on FM, she's on AM. We're never going to see each other. And even if we bump into each other, there's not going to be harmony, right? That's okay. Love doesn't mean you like someone. Love means you accept them where they are, and if you don't have a vibrational frequency, you move in a different direction. You hearing me? It's really clear that we're not meant to be with everyone, but we can love everyone. You know when you like someone when you meet them, don't you? You know when it's natural and easy. That's where you want to be. Love is not about making someone else whole or them making you whole. Love is embracing self-acceptance versus the acceptance of others. I got that so darn much when I was young and first married. Oh, where's your better half? Well, you're looking at it. Oh, you're so vain. You got that, you're so vain. You must need your partner. I've told this story 1,000 times. Meatloaf. 1974, Bad Outta Hell. One of the songs that made it was what? 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I want you, I need you, but I'm never going to love you. And I would say, no, I want you, I love you, but I'm never going to need you. And I was chastised for those lyrics. I was chastised by more women than you can shake a stick at. And guess what? I'm married, and they're not. That's not a judgment. That's a discernment. I am married, and they're not. Because when you need someone, you're saying that you're not whole without them. Do you get that? I don't need anyone to make me whole. I choose to be with someone that I can have fun with and dance with along this journey of further self-discovery. That's when you're in a relationship that's good. When you're doing that. Now, I'm not trying to say that there's not going to be challenges. There are challenges in no matter what the relationship is. But where are you pointing it? Where are you pointing the relationship? Is it to the dance floor or is it to the battlefield? Should never be to the battlefield. It's hard to accept others where they are. There are many times I know what's right for my wife. And she doesn't. And I've had to learn, do you notice I've had to learn over time that it's not my business. Did you hear that? It's not my business. Because in a relationship, here's who you're responsible for, you. You are not responsible for the other person, ever. Because only they can be responsible for themselves. So it's time we learn to stand up on our own and be responsible for ourselves. And when we do that, believe it or not, that's a power. That's probably the greatest power that we can use. And guess what? We'll attract that from that person. Or we won't. Which is right and which is wrong? Neither. Again, if I were to judge which is right and wrong, would I not be in judgment? And if I'm in judgment, I'm not in love, am I? The second you go into judgment, love disappears. And that's a hard thing to understand because we've been domesticated to believe that we judge. And people are here to please us and we know what's best for everyone. But we don't. It is to remember that any time we are in judgment, there is no love. Any time. It's okay to say, I'm not going to wear that clothing that person over there is wearing. Not because it's bad, just because it doesn't look good. I don't think it'll look good on me. It's not the image I want to portray. But that person really looks like crap in that clothing. And your emotions come out and you're doing all of it. No, that's judgment. You've got to accept. Sometimes people decide, I'm going to dress and not fit the fad. I can remember when I was an assistant minister in CSL Dallas, and they were really about, at the time I was there were a lot of people really about fashion and dressing in fashion. In fact, in ministerial school, we had a guy come in who had worked for Calvin Klein. And we had to bring in our favorite clothes, and he would tell us what was right or wrong with them. And he told me my shoes suck. My shoes do not fit the image. Guess what? I'm still wearing those shoes. Do you know why? They're comfortable. I like the way they feel. I like the way they look. I don't care what the fashion industry thinks about what I wear. Does that make sense? I'm going to dress for myself. I don't want to wear a coat that's up to here. You know how the coats now in men are really high? And you got the button, it's way up here, and it's tight like this? No. I think you look like a stuffed pork chop when you're doing that. Now there's judgment right there. So I'm just admitting to you that I'm not perfect by that. But I don't like a button here and going like that. No. I determine what's comfortable for me, what feels good for me. And you get to do that. I'm often criticized because when I'm not on platform on Sunday, I don't dress like this. I wear an athletic, dry fit shirt, whether short sleeve or long sleeve, and I wear athletic pants with athletic shoes. I am very, very comfortable in that. That's me. I gave up trying to be someone else and look like someone else and please someone else. No, if people can't hear the message that I'm speaking, the clothes aren't going to change that. The clothes are just an excuse. This is the one we started with. Self-love is a never-ending process of expanding our personal power. Do you hear the word? Never-ending process. And it's expanding our personal power or our personal level of awareness. It is the acceptance and expansion of our awareness that we're already whole and perfect. When we self-love, our lives become inspired, engaged, empowered, fulfilled, and we become free. That last word is the most important word of all. If you are in relationship with yourself, ask yourself, do I feel free to be me? Or have I put restrictions on me that are holding me back? Have I created unrealistic expectations? When you're with another person, ask the question, am I free to be me? And if you're not free to be you in the relationship, before you look and knock the other person, you got to come back and reflect on yourself, because the other person is a reflection of who you are. That's the work. You've got to understand that I'm feeling unfree here because somewhere in my life I'm not accepting things about myself, and that person is mirroring back to me what I'm not accepting in myself. So people in our lives are nothing but mirrors. But here's the thing, you get to choose who's the mirror in your life. We talked about that earlier. You want to like the person that you're in a relationship with. You know, you really want to like them. If you don't like the person, that happens. We meet someone and we get that grin. You know the look. It's that S-eating grin that we put on our face when we think we've met the one. Oh, the infatuation's so great. And we love oh my God, look at the nails she has. They're so perfect. And you're with them in relationship for 2 years. All of a sudden she goes to the nail place and they take off her nails and they're all full of fungus. I'm making it up, Alice. It's not for real. And you say, oh, did I fall in love with her nails? Did I fall in love with her hair? Did I fall in love with her body? Or did I fall in love with the energy that the person is? Because it's the energy when you're with someone that you connect with. Do you get that? It's the energetic of the person that you're with. That's what you look at. The other is the initial physical attraction that's built into our DNA about mating. We have to be attracted in order to want to mate. Well, I think we do. Some people maybe not true. Some people will mate with anything. But have you ever noticed that? There are people. And they're just bouncing around like they're monkeys in a zoo. Those are people who are not very aware. I want you to know that. Because awareness says if you bounce around like a monkey in a zoo, not going to be good consequences. I hadn't planned that for this talk, I want you to know. What would my granddaughter say? 9 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell down and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed. Sing that just about every day to my granddaughter, so it's stuck in my head. Wonder how that'll fit into the book. Love is a sense of freedom we create based on how we look at and experience life. Really take that in. Love is the freedom we create. And it's based on how we look at and how we experience life. See, how we look at life determines how we experience it. If your glass is half full, you're going to have a half full life. If your glass you see as full, whether it's half or even a quarter, you're going to have a great life. Joe Dispenza says, energy changes matter. Where you put your energy, you create that. What is energy? Energy is focus. That's all it is. Your power is your ability to focus, and where you put that focus, the intention in which you put that focus, how you put that focus. Is your focus to be loving, accepting? Is your focus to be free? Is your focus to be playful? Or is your focus to critique everything, to judge everything? Is your focus to be political about everything? Politics, I'm just going to share with you. Politics has nothing to do with love. Can you get that? The only politician that I've ever heard speak of love was Marianne Williamson. The rest of them are caught in this I'm right thing. It's an ego thing. Anytime you're in the ego thing, you're not in love. Here's an interesting thing I was reading in this blog by a minister who's a consultant to mega churches in Christianity. He says a minister should never, ever, ever take a political stance. Because if you take a political stance, you have now cut off half the people of the world. Think about that. Half the people in this country believe one way, don't they? Half the people believe the other way. If I were to focus on one way, I've cut off the possibility of talking to half the people. Why would I make such a stupid decision? Here's the question. It would be a decision of being unloving. Because my job, because I've chosen to be a minister and I've chosen to be a man of love, is to accept everyone where they are. Not to only accept people that think like me. I think that's real important if we can start to embrace that. And you see, you can control where you put your emphasis. You can control your conversations. You can control the amount of time you spend with people. I believe you can. That'll be another talk, the power to say no. You put yourself in positions where you can play, have fun, explore, and expand. And you want to be with people who love and support you as you grow and become more of who you are, and you support them. True love is then to be grateful for everything and to see how life is always in balance. What is the greatest prayer you could ever pray? Gratitude. Time in and time out. So here's the key. There's never need to be forgiving. There's a need to see that everything is in balance. As much as that person may have hurt you, how did that person benefit you by hurting you? As much as that person benefited you, how did that hold you back? You see, there's always two sides, and when you can see the balance, that person's doing that. They're wrong in how they're doing that. But then ask the question, where have I done that in my life? Maybe not the exact form, but where have I denied that person freedom? That's about owning all of the qualities. It's about owning all of the traits. And when we own all of the traits, we now embrace the fact that we are an infinite expression of love, and we're an infinite expression of love. We can now accept ourselves for that. So tonight, when you go home and you're going to sleep, make it a point to be grateful, not for just the good things that happened in your life. Be grateful for everything that happened in your day. Because good came from it. You just have to open your eyes and see it. I want to thank you for joining us today. I'm so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask that you go to our website, agapecsl.com. Once there, click on the donate button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. Or if you would like, text your gift by simply dialing 972-532-6976. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to you in the world. I would ask that if you like this message, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel under my name, Lee Wolak. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in the Agape community as we learn how to better self-love through conscious living.